Saphira drifted down to a clearing, landed on the crest of a hill, and rested her outstretched wings on the ground. Book 1, Eragon, Chapter 42, A Warrior and a Healer, and Chapter 43, Water from Sand. Welcome to Eragon and Back Again, a podcast where we explore Christopher Paolini's inheritance cycle one chapter at a time. I'm Lucy Hart.
And I'm Darien Smart.
And I actually really like these chapters.
I do like these chapters. I think they're a good tonal shift from the previous set of chapters.
Yep, but not a lot happens, so we're combining them.
Yeah, they're
Something
not
happens,
short,
but they're...
Yeah, I think, you know what, it's a lot. We can do what we want. It's our podcast.
There you go, yep. But before we get into all of that, do you have a spark of inspiration?
Yes. So, the thing is, I think I have a lot. There are a lot that I could cite specifically. Okay, I have one that is specifically after I consumed it. I turned around to my draft and literally made edits.
Yeah.
And so that one I think is the most specific, like literally the example of spark of inspiration. And I'll save the other thing I want to talk about for later episodes.
Yeah.
It's a little, not like embarrassing, but it's like a little bit. So, I finally read, listened to, audiobook, but regardless, Madeline, I'm finally on the audiobook train with Liz. It's great.
Finally, one of us. Anyway.
It's great. Save that for later. But I finally engaged with Madeline Miller's The Song of Achilles.
Mm-hmm.
Which, dear listeners, if you know anything about me, or listen to the other podcasts that I do or have been on, you know, I literally host a mythology podcast and have done so for 4 years.
Yeah.
Have, in fact, done episodes about the Iliad and Achilles and Patroclus.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, just had this kind of executive dysfunction red tape in my brain that said, no, you are not allowed to consume this. Now, that doesn't mean I didn't think I would like it, or I didn't believe what people recommended to me, or I didn't think it was going to be good. I knew and believed all of those things, and yet still was completely incapable of just getting into this book I know would be a positive experience.
Oh, no.
So, I finally did, and it was, of course, excellent.
Mm-hmm.
It's Madeline Miller, The Song of Achilles. I know, no notes. I have no notes. The way Miller approached the tale, the Odyssey, these figures, the way she reinterprets them, the way she, like, handles the original text, like, I have no notes.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear a full, more in-depth discussion, you can pay me $10 over on Patreon and listen to the full episode where I and friend of the podcast, Dalton Montgomery, discussed the whole damn thing.
Very cool.
But I will say that Madeline approaches the interpretation of the relationship of Achilles and Patroclus as being specifically romantic.
Yeah.
With a sexual attraction between the two of them. So there are scenes that are on the spicier side.
Yeah.
Not totally, not explicit, but they're there.
Spicy.
And they help layer on to you get a full, you the reader, understand the full spectrum of their feelings, their bond, the relationship that they have had for their, like, almost their entire lives. So, after reading one of these scenes, I thought about a scene in my draft.
Ooh.
That is the two characters who have this kind of attraction to each other finally acting on it for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I can do that better.
Yeah!
I thank you, Ms. Miller, for reminding me what these scenes are actually supposed to look like.
Yeah.
I can do this better. And I did.
Oh, good!
So I literally went back, and I also I didn't just go back and make the scene spicier, although I did, and I'm very happy with it, because I think it gives a lot more to the nature of these characters and their relationship and what I want to communicate about the nature of their relationship.
Yeah.
But simultaneously, I also took the opportunity to realize the first half of the scene would be better served from the other character's point of view.
Ooh.
Because we have not gotten to spend a lot of time in this other character's POV when they are specifically thinking about the other character in the scene and because like a lot more, like, they both have POV scenes, but it's a lot more in character B than it is in character A.
Yeah.
And so by this point in my draft, the audience knows very, very, very well how character B feels about character A.
Yeah.
Like, you know this. But I have not had the opportunity. The scenes that are from character A's POV are not often about that. They're about other things the character is dealing with.
Yeah.
Or they have not allowed themselves to fully reflect on not just, like, their affection for this character, but their desire for this character.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to make that apparent, and then character B moves in for the kiss, and you understand that it is 100% wanted and reciprocated.
Yeah.
And it was fun getting to do this and then shifting to the other character's point of view and rewriting the rest of the scene.
Yeah.
Yes. So, that's literally, I have to, Madeline Miller's Song of Achilles, definitely have to be like, no, that literally was in the middle of reading this book and been like, yeah, no, I can do this better. I can make this sequence more impactful.
That's
like
so
this,
good.
what I am writing is specifically meant for like an adult audience, so I can definitely be like, no, you don't understand. These two characters, they're gonna fuck later. Like not in the scene. Like that's not the book I'm writing, but I need you, the reader, to know. No, they're going back to the apartment and they are going to hook up.
Yeah,
you understand that, right?
Absolutely. Like we might not go there with them, however,
I want you to know that is what their relationship
is happening.
Because they're two grown-ass adults.
Yep.
So, and that's what they want to do.
Yep.
So,
I like that.
Thank you, Lucy.
Very good inspiration.
And it's the one thing of my whole book that I have written out of order. I've not let myself write any other scene except for the first thing that I wrote that actually got me into working on it at all.
Yeah.
Everything else I've been like this and then this and then this and then this. And so this is the one thing that I had pictured in my head, wrote it back in February, and then revisited it a few weeks ago when I was reading Song of Achilles. And like, let's polish that up to the point where I'm like, okay, the original version I wrote in February maybe wasn't going to make it into the final draft, actually. This one, I know exactly what's going to lead up to this and what follows now, so it's this anchor point that I can build to finish the damn thing!
There you go. That's good.
What about you, Liz?
I think my spark of inspiration is actually going to go with what we watched yesterday.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah. So for our Patreon, for next month, we recorded, or we watched together Dragon's World, or what is it also known as?
So it's Dragon's World, a Fantasy Made Real. It was also known as The Last Dragon, or Dragons of Fantasy Made Real.
Yep, lots of names. But it's like a documentary movie type-esque thing where they talk about, like, what if dragons actually existed, and like what would they look like in prehistoric times, and up until today
as a creature in the natural environment, as real animals. How would they
actually
breathe
like
fire?
dinosaurs?
How could they fly like looking like that?
Absolutely. And I just seeing all of that, just like the little nuances of like what made the dragons like feel real, like this could possibly be real, and it was just so cool, and it made me so excited to write more about dragons, and like what I could do to make my dragons seem more real, and just like going off that same vein is just like what can I do to make the world in my world seem more real, just those little nuances, those little details that really make it real and feel real. So that was like me. I'm like, whenever I start getting into my writing again, which I haven't been doing lately, unfortunately.
Your book will be better when you are actually able to give it the love and energy and attention it needs, rather than trying to force things through.
Yep. So I'm excited to get back into it when I get back into it. But yes, so paying attention to little details, and then thank you, Dragon's World, for helping me get excited about that.
It's very good. I think, so it's like, oh yeah, we just watched this, it's going to be next month, but dear listener, what actually that means is it's this month's Patreon bonus episode.
Yeah.
Because when this episode comes out, it's going to be July.
July, yeah.
And you'll also be like, but wait, I just listened to the last episode where they said that the June episode was going to be this Dragons of Fantasy Made Real. What happened? Did one not come out for June? No, it did. But when Lucy and I were initially going to watch Dragons of Fantasy Made Real, I realized, hey, wait, it's Pride. It's June.
Yep.
We're a couple of queers. Let's watch something a little gayer.
Yep.
And I got to introduce Lucy to Ever After High dragon games.
Yep, that's fun. That was a really fun.
And that is available for you, dear listeners, to listen to right now for just $5. You can also listen to the bonus episodes we have released about How to Train Your Dragon, the movie.
Yep.
And Anne McCaffrey's Dragonflight, the first of the Dragon Riders of Pern Chronicles.
Yep.
So, just for $5, listeners, you get 3 bonus episodes where we talk about these very, very different dragon books, and Darien gets to trap Lucy and tell her about this now defunct fashion doll line that I'm still obsessed with.
I love it.
But
so good.
Did your eyes just cast up to see Maddie Hatter up on my shelf?
Yeah,
I saw the glance.
Like, where is it?
She's up there. For now, let's get back into the dragon story that this podcast is dedicated to.
Yep.
And I will read our chapter synopses.
Woo!
A warrior and a healer. Eragon, Saphira, Murtagh, and their elven companions successfully escape. Eragon heals Saphira's wing to the best of his ability, and they continue onward. When the party finally makes camp, Eragon is horrified to discover evidence of physical abuse endured by the still unconscious elf woman. Saphira makes it clear that the elf cannot be allowed to die, and again Eragon puts his fledgling healing abilities to use. Water from sand. The party cannot continue to run aimlessly, so they stop to plan their next move. They determine that the safest path will take them across the desert, where they will most likely die of dehydration. After some magical experimentation, Eragon determines he will be able to draw water from the earth. With this new skill in pocket, they commit to a desert expedition.
Yep. Wow, we're like pretty far in
we're
now.
We're almost done. Yeah.
We're not too long now. I think my audio book says we have only like 6 hours left or something.
Wow.
So.
Yeah, I'm looking at... So the copy I have is such a stout little paperback that it clocks in at like 730 pages. We're 453, so yeah.
Getting there.
Getting there.
I think a warrior and a healer, like, that refers to Murtagh and Eragon.
I think it's
Eragon.
Just supposed to be about Eragon.
That's what I think.
Demonstrating he is both a warrior, because the previous chapter he fought the Shade, and now he is demonstrating his healing abilities.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Which I feel are aggressively lacking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes me again think about Braum, and even though he like healed the wound on Braum, like it's like going back to like the internal stuff. Like you don't know what that did internally, and you sealed that in whatever.
Yeah,
that
no,
was, and
exactly.
That's not great.
They acknowledge that in Water from Sand, where they talk about how like, hey, we're worried that she hasn't woken up yet.
Yeah, and for 3 days.
For 3 days. This is concerning.
Yep.
And Murtagh's like, you healed her. Why hasn't she woken up? And Eragon full on admits like, well, yeah, I healed what I could see outside, but there may be internal things. And it's like, yeah. And I find, I don't know if maybe, because I can't, we actually just talked about this, how we can remember as readers, like, okay, remember at the beginning, and then we got Murtagh, and we rescue this elven woman, and then something happens, and then we have a plot point, and then we can remember to the end of the book. But this... So I don't remember if this is something that is addressed by other characters later, where Eragon's constant, you can't just be sealing up the wound if you can't repair the broken tissues inside, right? Or you're just trapping, like, I can't remember. I very much hope it does, and I want to take a page from Percy Jackson podcaster colleagues Monster Donut, wherein they approach everything that is written in the text as if it was an intentional and specific decision.
Yeah.
So, in this case, I'm going to approach Palene's choice to have Eragon just repeatedly healing the wounds and then constantly admitting that he doesn't know what to do about the things on the inside as an intentional decision that is meant to make us be like, Eragon, you are powerful but untrained, and that is a danger.
Yeah.
Like, that this could be... And I hope I'm correct about that, but we'll see.
That definitely rings true for me. But I think, like, why, like, Braum's injury, him healing it, made me kind of like, you shouldn't do that, compared to, like, this, is that Saphira's wings got injured.
I think Saphira's wings are, this one they'll give him, the wings seem fine.
Yeah, because it's also, like, not, like, in her side, or something like that. So it's just the wing, it's almost surface level, especially the membranes. Yeah. It's just, like, I don't know if there's much there, it's so thin, you know, just go whoop and you're good kind of thing. Like, you have to worry about veins and things like that, but he obviously isn't. But it turns out okay, because Saphira is well enough to fly. And then also when he heals the elf woman, I almost said her name.
Oh, Lucy, how could?
When he heals the elf woman, I think a lot of it is surface level. Yeah. Because it's like she has, like, cuts and bruises, a lot of bruises, and then scabs. Yeah, and for me, that feels a lot like surface level. It's not like, the only ones that make me nervous are her back, where Eragon says she was lashed. Yeah, or lashed, whipped. And
then there was, like, evidence of branding. Yeah. Like, hot, So, this woman went through a lot, and it's only, there is no evidence of it on any part of her body that is visible. Yep. Which, to me, I read as an extra layer of, like, insidious intention. Yeah. Wherein whoever has done this to her still wants to outwardly her to look unmarred and perfect. Yep. For XYZ reasons, but they know actually what has been done to her and what she, quote, truly looks like now because of what they have done to her. And that is, like, because it could be, like, her face could be slashed up. The bruises, they're, like, they stop literally, like, they had no idea she was so badly hurt until they, like, saw her like, part of her clothing gets ripped.
Her shirt gets ripped, and he sees just, like, her wrist, and then he's like, holy shit, so it's, like, and then he lifts it higher, and it just gets worse
it's not
as
her
he
hands
goes.
or her neck or her face. Like, it is very specifically confined, like, to where it can be hidden. And that reads as very an extra level of, like, evil and insidious to me, which I appreciate that touch in. Obviously this is villainy.
I agree. I'm trying to find right here. She had been repeatedly tortured to the edge of death with a precision that chilled him. And it's like, nope, that 100% solidifies what you were saying. Like, it was intentional. Obviously, she was tortured, but, like, I think with the precision is kind of, like,
very technical.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what it wasn't.
It
wasn't someone who, like, was interrogating a prisoner and then lost control of the situation. Like, there was evidence of this being, whoever did this had a goal in mind, and this was an intentional thing that they wanted to make sure she didn't escape from it in any way.
Absolutely.
And it is deeply, deeply disturbing.
It was deeply upsetting.
In a way that gives us, the reader, more evidence of, like, oh yeah, the Empire is evil.
Oh yeah.
And we get even more of that as Murtagh reveals. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, those Urgals, they're obviously working for the Shade, and the Shade is working for Galbatorix. So the Urgals and everything we have seen them done, thinking all the way back to that village, that was done under the order or authority or permission of the king of this land, of the king of these people. Let this happen to them.
And I think it is in this chapter where Eragon realizes that when he remembers insulting the Urgal's master and realizing that was the king, he insulted the king. And I do like how he goes, oh shit, like, I just insulted one of the most powerful person in the land right now. And then he kind of stops and he goes, but he did all this horrible stuff. And I like how he loses that fear pretty quickly. He's like, no, actually, like, I'm going to stick with,
I do it again.
Exactly.
No, when I do it, I double fucking down on it.
Like, absolutely. So I do really like that.
Yeah, and I think it also outlines, like, we, the reader, when Eragon is having the initial conversation with the Urgals way back when, and is insulting their leader, I think we would have just assumed we knew that they worked for the Shade, so... So it was a delight for us to be like, oh, no, they, like, work, like, having that underlined. It's like, no, the Shade is their commander, but they work for the king. Then he remembered the horror of the slaughtered villagers in Yazwak. A sick, angry feeling welled in his stomach. The Urgals were under Galbatorix's orders. Why would he commit such an atrocity against his own subjects? Because he is evil, stated Saphira flatly. And I was like, yeah, I like that. We're not mincing. I was like, why? And Saphira doesn't offer any, like, tactical reason. There's no strategy. There's no, maybe the Urgals need to be allowed to do. It doesn't matter the why, the actual or reason or anything, any justification. The actual reason is he's evil, Eragon.
Absolutely. It's just like, because he's evil. He doesn't really care about literally anything or anyone. And then I do like Eragon's ignorance kind of shows up here, I think, where he goes, this means war. Once the people of the Empire learn of it, they will rebel and support the Varden. And I'm like,
I mean,
maybe it's like
so.
Yeah, like, for me as an adult, like, reading this as an adult, like, adult, I'm just like, like, I don't know about that. And I think Murtagh approaches it in a much more, like, realistic mindset, where he's, even if people were to side with the Varden, very few would actually make it to them. And like with the Urgals under his command, the king has enough warriors to close the Empire's borders and remain in control no matter how disruptive people are. And it's also, like, not to mention how powerful Galbatorix has been, how we've been told, and Eragon has kind of told by proxy how powerful Galbatorix is like, I don't think people rebelling would be his, like, biggest worry, honestly. Like, regular normal people, like, no.
And I like how Murtagh even goes on to point out that, like, with such a rule of terror, he'll be able to shape the Empire however he wants. And though he is hated, people could be galvanized into joining him if they had a common enemy. Who would that be? Asked Eragon, confused. The elves and the Varden. With the right rumors, they can be portrayed as despicable monsters and Allegasia. fiends who are waiting to seize your land and wealth. The Empire could even say that the Urgles have been misunderstood all this time, and they're really friends and allies against terrible enemies. I only wonder what the king has promised them in return for their services.
Yep.
And I like that point too, is like, it doesn't matter what the truth is, because the Empire is powerful enough to rewrite the situation, no matter what happened. And even potentially, like, if anyone found out about what happened at Yazwak, blame it on the elves and the Varden.
Yeah,
like, why not? Like,
you can't say, like, the Urgles did that. No, they didn't. It was the elves that did that.
And the Urgles, like, were our friends. They tried to stop them, and they couldn't. Like, it's like, it's like the power isn't just in brute force, but the ability to rewrite information and tell people what they will believe, and having such power and fear behind it that people will choose to believe what they are told.
Yep.
Because it's safer for them to do so.
Absolutely. And I think the rest of the chapter kind of goes off with them discussing what they're going to do. Like, I think they talk about like, he also, what I actually like is he talks about how he and or Eragon and Murtagh now have a bond, because Murtagh saved his life, and so there's an
brotherhood,
brotherhood, and there is even a more deeper connection between the two. And I'm just like, Murtagh just proving that he is still the best boy. Like, I love him so much.
At one point,
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, Murtagh, like, doubling down on that Murtagh, like, when they talk about, like, well, Saphira can't fly all three of us, and we can't travel, and Murtagh's like, I will leave. Like, I can, like, lead them away so you can fly away with Saphira and the elf. Like, we'll separate. And Eragon's like, why would I leave you? That would be, you saved my life. I can't just abandon you.
Yep, and I like how Murtagh was kind of scared about that, because he's like, all right, well, that makes me feel a little better that you're not going to abandon me. I appreciate
cool, thanks,
that.
Man, I appreciate that. Oh, man. It's like, oh, wow, is it a character who clearly has deep-seated trauma where they feel like they'll be abandoned at a moment's notice? Weird, wonder why.
No idea.
Couldn't possibly
Couldn't
guess.
But then, then they find the last of the chapter ends with Eragon and Saphira healing the elf. I keep trying almost saying her name. I gotta be better at that. I haven't said her name.
You haven't said it,
no, so healing her, and Eragon's just freaking exhausted.
Well, can we talk about, like, Saphira?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
When, because when they first realized the harm done to her, there's one thing I want to note in the description of, like, how badly she's injured. On her left shoulder was a tattoo inscribed with indigo ink. It was the same symbol that had been on the sapphire of Brom's ring.
Yeah.
I'm sure they mentioned Brom's sapphire ring way, way back in the beginning, and that's why it didn't even be brought up all the time.
Yep.
I don't think I remember. I mean, I believe it was done. I for real didn't remember that there was a special symbol in it.
I don't remember if there was too, but I'm like, they have to have mentioned it.
They have to have mentioned it, but it's like forever ago. But it's like, oh, okay. I mean, that's a great indicator to be like, oh, well, clearly Brom was that this is someone that we need to be with. This is someone who's in whatever Brom was doing. There's a connection there. This person gives, like, it's a great detail, but I'm definitely like, Brom's sapphire ring mentioned to have a symbol in it? I don't remember.
I feel like yes. I feel like
certainly.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
it's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been over a year
since we were in the first chapters. Yeah.
But seeing the injury, and Murtagh and Eragon are both horrified.
Flabbergasted. They're like, holy cow!
Brutal. And Murtagh asks him if he can heal it.
Yeah, and that's. I was gonna say, like, Murtagh's the one that, can you heal this?
Yeah.
And he's the one that's like, holy shit, like, heal her.
Yeah, and Eragon's like, literally, like, I don't know, there's so much.
Yep.
And then Saphira chimes in.
Saphira gets super angry. Well, not angry, but, like, chastising.
Yeah.
Where she's like, Eragon, this is an elf. She cannot be allowed to die. Tired or not, hungry or not, you must save her. I will meld my strength with yours, but you are the one who must wield the magic. And Eragon's like, yeah, you're right.
I don't dislike Saphira being like, I will lend you my magic to help this person, but she's an elf and therefore cannot be allowed to die is intentional or not communicating that in this world there is a value of life that is measured differently based on who or what a being is.
Yeah.
As we've discussed with Eragon being chastised for killing the Urgles.
Yeah.
And us talking about, like, well, if they were bandits who they believed worked for the king, would he have been like, you should have killed all of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think here we're seeing, like, Saphira isn't just saying, hey, she can't be allowed to die. Like the symbol, obviously she knows something, she's important. Like, she's a person. She is an elf.
And cannot be allowed to die.
Yeah, therefore, and it is not, again, it is, her value is in that she is an elf and is now more valuable than if she was a human being.
Yeah, I think you're right with the, like, it might have been, like, unimplied. Mm-hmm. I do think it's something to do with Paulini just really liking elves.
Oh, for sure.
I think Paulini, and it's throughout the whole series where Paulini, I feel 15-year-old Paulini was just like, elves are so cool.
No,
they're just so cool and they're great and I love them so much. Mm-hmm. And that's why I feel like that's why the whole story, like, leans in that direction. Mm-hmm. But so that's why I do agree that I think it was unintentional for that. But it's like, I think we mentioned, like, back in, like, the very first episodes where elves are put on this, like, pedestal above everybody else, and it continues to be so here. Yeah,
and it is. And I think it's also just, like, the hierarchy of who or what is more entitled to help and care and respect and life and autonomy. And we see that with even Saphira, who is a dragon, and she is our source of, like, wisdom, right? Yeah. Saying that, like, she is an elf, and therefore, as an elf, cannot be allowed to die. It's like, obviously, elves are like, oh, they're powerful, and they're ancient, and there is the inherence of, they don't even know her yet. Yep. Like, they don't know if maybe she's a traitor to elves in Varden, and they don't know anything. Maybe, and I'm not saying anyone would be justified in being, like, experiencing what we can tell this woman has experienced, but they don't know that she wasn't, like, a criminal who just got on the bad side of the king because she failed a mission for him and is being punished. Like, they do not know her, this person, except for Eragon has seen her in dreams. Yep. And she was imprisoned, and she is an elf. But they, like, literally don't know. Nope. And not to say that even if they found out that she was a terrible person, would then not be entitled to being healed and rescued saved, and being taken out of that situation. Like, but it is just the fact that there is in this series a demonstration of, like, I'll say it one more time, the hierarchy of who is more worthy of life. Yeah. And this interaction has demonstrated that as just the fact that she is an elf, no matter anything else, she is inherently, I don't care what you have to do, Eragon, you will not let her die. Yeah. Again, because she is an elf, not just because it's like, also, it's like interesting that's like, it's not, you are a writer, and it is your duty to do what you can, sick or hungry, like, tired or not, hungry or not, like, I will help you, but you will wield. This person is close to death, and it is your duty to save them. Yes. No, but so I think that's important. Like, again, an intentional choice by Paolini to have it worded as such. Her value is in that she is an elf. And like I said, that's something that we can probably clock many more times as the series goes on. I also think, like, in just the book fiction that's given to us, it could be Saphira is a little biased because the first treaties between dragons and two-legged people were elves. Yes. So that could also be a bias where Saphira feels maybe overprotective of That's a good elves point, yeah. Because she's like, no, like, these were the first people who did a treaty with my like, people. I am here because of the treaty with the elves and the dragons, and so she might feel, as dragons, we owe them. Yeah, so she might feel a sense of obligation, and that would, I feel like that would also explain her, like, this is an elf, like, do you know what they did for me and our ancestors, both of our ancestors? Like, no, we can't not leave her in this state, kind of thing. Yeah. So no, I like that concept too. Like, it is such a small line, but it implies a lot that can be extrapolated by the readers. Yep, I agree. But then, he heals her. I do like he when he asks Murtagh, he's like, can you get food and boil rags? And he goes, that requires a fire. We're not lighting a fire. It's all gonna be cold. And he's like, okay. I'm like, don't put dirty rags on this woman's injuries, Eragon. That's really bad. Yeah, no, don't do that. Yeah. And I don't know if we want to touch on, although he tried to preserve the elf's modesty, he could not help but notice that underneath the disfigured marks, her body was exceptionally beautiful. It is. It's another where it's like, it is meant to communicate to the reader that she is so very beautiful. She's an elf, and so she is so very beautiful. But it just, because Eragon's the one, it just makes Eragon feel a little pervy and a little creepy. And again, he's 16 years old. Yeah, and I'm like, for me, I'm like, 16, but also, like... But also, objectifying.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, despite the things she has gone through, it's okay. She's still beautiful and physically appealing and underneath. Like, this has not ruined her beauty. Like, it is also a little like, I'm gonna put the cards on the table and yell at him a little bit. Like, it is still that, because again, we still know nothing about this character, but because she is a woman and a beautiful woman at that has made her, now she must be protected, and now she, like, because pretty, because beauty. And it is also just the constant, no, but she's so hot though, guys.
But she's so hot though. Like, hey y'all, she's so hot.
But like,
though.
but or also maybe it's just being, hey, Eragon's so into and in love with her because she is beautiful, and again, he knows nothing about this person whatsoever.
Her. Yeah, it's very, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Romeo and Juliet without the Juliet part. Like, just cause if I remember the play right, I just watched the anime Romeo x Juliet, so that's very Romeo and Juliet's like on my brain. But it's like in the actual play, Romeo sneaks into the party to see this other woman.
Rosalind. He's in love with Rosalind, Juliet's cousin.
And he sees Juliet and he's like, her, I love her. I don't love who's Rosalind who?
I don't
Rosalind who?
Her.
No, this person. I love this person now. And I feel like it is very much that.
Yes. And that's fine, because that's intentional. Like, the audience in Romeo and Juliet is supposed to register that, like, Romeo's so flaky.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean that he doesn't have feelings for Juliet, but it's also meant to be like, he is so fickle and young, and it is also and it's also supposed to be comedic. It's supposed to be like, it's so fucking funny. And everything about Romeo and Juliet is actually written as if it's supposed to be a comedy.
Yeah.
Right up until they die.
Right until
it is a play that Shakespeare intentionally was playing with his own genre things, and if it was a comedy, it would actually end in a wedding, because comedies end in weddings. Tragedies end in funerals.
Yep.
Romeo and Juliet is written to be a comedy right until the funeral.
Yep. And I'll say, like, if anyone has like issues with Romeo and Juliet, do recommend the anime Romeo.
And that was just fun. That was just very fun.
It's so bonkers, but it's also so good. Like, Romeo and Juliet, we all know how it ends, guys. Yeah. Like, we all know how it ends. But I think they do such a good job with how it ends. It's like, it's so good. No, I like binged it the other day.
Right. So that's what I think your comparison is like, with knowing nothing about this, and in Romeo and Juliet, it is meant to demonstrate, it is meant to communicate certain things about Romeo with the audience that is supposed to let us know, like, this dude's so goofy. Like, this is ridiculous. Everything is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that is not necessarily what is meant to be communicated from Eragon. It's just meant to communicate how utterly, like, enthralled with her she is. And again, it's because she's beautiful.
Go ahead, sorry.
There's another version where it's like, okay, again, like I said earlier about wanting to approach it as if every choice was intentional, and that is true. I can still critique the choice that was made regardless of whether or not it's intentional, and I choose to do so now, where I feel like it makes me, as a woman who's reading this thing, it makes me uncomfortable that the priority is of this character's physical beauty.
Yeah. And
that she is still beautiful despite this scars that Eragon is wiping away, right? Yeah. And if we wanted to have an opportunity for Eragon to demonstrate his admiration for this woman, the fact that she survived this, that she must be someone of great strength to have gone through this, such a horrible ordeal, and remembering the look of defiance she gave him before she fell into it. Like, there is very much opportunities to communicate what is being meant to communicate to us, that being Eragon's interest and affection for this woman. And her characteristics as a character whom we don't know well, but so far every time she is being given a compliment in Eragon's eyes, it is only because she is beautiful. And that makes me unhappy.
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Agreed. I will say he does kind of touch on that just a little bit, but it's just a sentence. As Eragon toiled, he marveled that the elf was still alive. And that's all you really get from it.
And I feel like that line could be interpreted as just like, wow, this is so brutal. Who could have survived this?
Yeah,
and
but it
not,
doesn't have...
wow, this is so beautiful. It's it's like the fact that she survived this tells us something about her.
Yeah, I would like that aspect better.
Yeah, it feels like it's more framed that how anyone could survive. It tells us more about the violence that was committed and not about. I think, and I also want to be like, there can also be ickiness in being like marveling at someone who was the victim of something, and that being like, wow, you're so strong to have survived that. It's like, I shouldn't have had to survive that. Like, that, I also want to, like, acknowledge that that can be a bummer, too.
Yeah.
But I think it's like, yeah, it's also an intentional choice that every opportunity there is to demonstrate this character in some sort of positivity,
it's all about her looks.
The choice is about the fact that she is beautiful.
Yep, I agree.
And again, it's like, oh, but Eragon is 16 years old. Yeah, but dragons aren't real either, gang. So, I'm not gonna say that's the excuse here of why he only thinks about how she's so pretty.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna give them, I won't go so far as to give that one a pass just because he's 16. He also has a dragon.
Yeah. I think one of the things that I was going to say about, like, the comparison I made with Eragon being Romeo, and how I think that's a good point. Like, Romeo is supposed to be portrayed as, like, goofy and, like...
his heart is so, like... He just loves the idea of being in love with pretty girls.
I think from Eragon's perspective, just the vibe that because I was trying to think, I'm like, what's the vibe that Eragon's trying to get off? And I think it's trying to be protective, that he is protective and caring.
Yeah, he's that, like...
Because it's not goofy, he's just like, oh, like, I want to protect her. Like, he says that a couple of times. Yeah, he feels protective. He
describes like a protective, like,
so it's
brow.
So even though he's like, I love her, but it's not trying to be portrayed as goofy. I don't think there's some goofy moments in the book, but I don't think a majority of it is comedic. It's not a comedic book. It's a fantasy book, adventure book. And I do think the big part of it is just him being protective.
Yes, I think so too. There's a lot of, when they, in the next chapter, they're trying to figure out, like, Eragon's like, she can't keep just being on Saphira's back because the rubbing of Saphira's scales is gonna hurt her.
Gonna cause sores, which Eragon very much knows
very
about that.
And they're like, well, we can't, if we could put her on a horse, but, like, that doesn't solve the sores problem.
Yeah.
And Saphira's like, well, hey, just tie her to my belly. And I can't carry her in my claws because I can't land. Tie her to my belly. Then she'll be, like, hanging I don't know how, I guess Saphira's belly doesn't have much scales, or, like, her back is completely...
It's not her... I think, from just that, because I don't know if it's described or not, or if it has, I forgot about it, or if it's described in the future, our bad. Mm-hmm. But I do think the scales on her stomach aren't as hard as the ones on her back.
Usually it's not. Yeah, that tracks. So, when I think that at some point in time they mention tying her, Eragon is described as, like, having a protective furrow of his brow.
Yeah.
Unless it happens in the next chapter that I read. But yeah, I think it is, like, Eragon's, that's another thing, is, like, Eragon is, like, whenever he's, like, tries to, like, explain his feelings regarding her, he's just, she needs to be protected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I do think, I'm trying to find, there's also something that Murtagh says, because, like, in the very first chapters, that's what we kind of talked about earlier. Murtagh and Eragon are talking, and that's when Eragon's like, he's like, I'm not leaving you behind. Like, don't insult me. The only reason I'm free is because of you. I'm not going to abandon you to the Empire. Poor thanks that would be. Murtagh bowed his head. Your words hearten me. And so it just starts off with that. But I think, like, Murtagh, I can't remember this, but if it comes up later, I'll bring it up again. But he says something that I'm like, Murtagh's such a good boy, and Eragon trusts him so much.
At this point, our tagline of the podcast could just be, Murtagh's such a good boy.
He's such a good boy. I love him so much. And my heart just hurts. And I'm just like, Murtagh. Anyway. Spoiler free.
It's a very spoiler free podcast.
Yeah. But then they talk about, like, we have to flee, but in which direction? And then they kind of realize, okay, we have to get out of the Empire.
Yeah. They don't want to go up to, like, Du Welden Varden, which is, like, the forest.
Varden, yep.
Because they're like, and they don't want to go to the Varden, and they're like, we can't get to Serta, which is, we get some great, like, world lore.
Oh, yeah, I like Serta.
Yeah, where there is another nation to the south that Galbatorix has not been able to control since they seceded.
Yep.
Which means at some point in time in history, after Galbatorix took over, this part of Allegasia managed to separate itself from his rule successfully.
Yep.
And that is, he talks about how, like, he's quite powerful in the Empire, but his power, this figure is very powerful, but his power, he's not a world overlord.
Yes.
It is interesting where you spend time just, like, lightly acknowledging that there are limits to this being's power, who, like, is a dragon rider and managed to take down all the dragon riders and now has, like, a shade in his pocket and the Razak and the Urgles and, like, has this control, has this power. But that power is not unlimited, and at one point in time, some faction, some part of this world, this country, this continent, managed to break away from him, and he has not been able to claw it back in. And I think that demonstrates that this is not an infallible enemy. Like, there are cracks already. That means that the obviously the end game is for the evil tyrant to be overthrown.
Yep.
And there is an inevitability that will happen. And I think mentioning that it's not this like tight iron fist of the empire that nothing can get away from. Like, there is things that there are weak points. There are ways.
Yep. I agree.
There's already a glimmer of hope, even if our characters aren't thinking about it currently.
Yeah, absolutely.
But anyway, they decide, well, I guess we're just gonna go across the desert.
Yep, and then they're like, I feel like that's out of all the things, it's the most plausible to them. It's the one, like, okay, it makes the most sense. But, like, survival-wise, it's the worst choice that we could make.
The desert.
Yeah.
And don't, dear listener, you may know this. Deserts want to kill you.
Yeah, they're really bad. And that was what Murtagh says. He's like, it's full of poisonous plants and animals, and it's 10 times the vastness of the plain. And Eragon was already floored with by the plain, and this is like significantly larger than that. He's trying to, Eragon like tries to like visualize how big that is, and he's like, I can't even fathom it. I can't even
I cannot fathom either, Eragon. It's not just you, my friend.
And then we get I love this whole scene where, because Murtagh says like, hey, like, so I bought fresh supplies for everyone, but water's gonna be a really big issue.
We need water.
We need water if we're going to go to the desert. And Eragon's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go experiment with magic real quick.
Like, he asks Saphira, can you carry enough water? And she's like, I cannot.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And I appreciate that the instinct isn't always like, can I solve it with magic? Like, I do like, I think he's
trying to
Eragon problem solving.
Yep.
Keeps him being a grounded character. Keeping like a character who only uses magic to solve problems is very quickly a character that I think will power becomes a crutch and an abuse.
Yeah.
And so I like that Eragon's first thing is like, Saphira, can you carry the water? I cannot. All right, magic then. What
right,
can I turn? What does the desert have? It's got a lot of sand. If I could turn that into water,
yeah, that would be a good thing.
And I love. Do you want to read because I think the description of that paragraph.
The immediately starts with immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Immediately, the dirt began to absorb his strength at a prodigious rate. Eragon's mind flashed back to Brahm's warning that certain tasks could consume all of his power and take his life. Panic blossomed in his chest. He tried to release the magic, but could not. It was linked to him until the task was complete or he was dead. All he could do was remain motionless, growing weaker every moment.
That's so good.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time. Like, Brahm, like I said, way back when, Brahm's like, you can't, once you cast a spell, you're tied to it until it's done.
Yep.
And if you do something that you don't have the strength to do,
it will kill you.
It's not going to just stop when you tap out.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to, and I like that we got to see that. We got a clear reminder and experience like what that, like Eragon tries to stop it and he can't.
Yep. And I honestly think this was probably good for Eragon. And he even like, cause it works. He doesn't die, obviously. Otherwise the book would end here.
Wild! Well, now we're just hanging out with Murtagh.
Now we're just gonna hang out with Murtagh. But it's like, just as he was convinced he would die kneeling there, the dirt shimmered and morphed into a thimble full of water.
He had a whole handful of dirt.
Yeah. And so he gets just this tiny little bit of water, and he's so relieved he didn't try more. And he's stunned by, like, holy crap, I almost died.
And he's like, he's breathing hard, his heart pounded painfully, hunger gnawed at his innards. Like, he's just literally, like, drained all. And Saphira shows up. What happened?
She's so mad.
This won't work. I don't even have the strength to give myself a drink.
Yeah. And I think for him, it's like, what's the best way to learn is by trying and failing.
I think there have been past things where Eragon has like experimented where I'm like, Eragon, like when he did scrying, and I'm like, Eragon,
Yeah, like, dude, you have no idea.
But this was his character. Yeah, he's gonna try it.
I agree, and I think this was a reality check that he needed.
Yes, it's been too easy for him before.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, no, dude, if you fuck up, you fuck up. Like, you can't do that.
Even when, like, the last time magic overwhelmed him is when he used it to kill the Urgles and passed out. But even still, that was, I exhausted my energy doing this. What he knew was going to be a big thing.
Yeah.
This, he did not fathom that this, like, alchemy, right? Transmutation magic was gonna be such a big thing. And I think, reality check is a great way to put it, Luce.
And I do think it's also interesting because it's like, even with the Urgles, he ran out of energy and passed out. This, he is frozen.
Yeah, he's feeling it drawing,
he's feeling it
him.
pull from him. And that is terrifying.
Yeah, because it was like, he ran out of energy when fighting the Urgles and then just passed out because the spell was done. But it was just because he was exhausted.
It was also his first spell.
Yeah, but it didn't feel like it was using him up in the way where he could watch it happen slowly.
Yep. And
that was, like, kind of horror.
Yep. And I said first spell, but I mean, like, his first spell drained him to the point where he was, like, shaking. That was when he did the arrows with the Urgles. And
that was the singer,
Yeah. And then him throwing the Urgles, I think that was, like, I think he was still trying to get used to magic, or he was, like, is still in, like, the beginning parts of learning. And so his body wasn't used to that big of toll. And I feel like that compared to this, there is a difference there, but yes.
No, absolutely. And he asked Saphira, it's like, well, could you do it? And she's basically says, he's like, he's like, she did something similar, transforming sandstone into diamond.
Yeah.
And she just says, I don't know how I did it. It just happened.
Yep.
I've no more control over my abilities than a spider does. Things like that occur whether I want them to or not. Brahm told you that unusual things happen around dragons. He spoke truly. He gave no explanation for it, nor do I have one. Sometimes I can work changes just by feel, almost without thought. The rest of the time, like now, I'm as powerless as Snowfire.
Yep.
Which Eragon says you're never powerless. And
yeah, I mean, she's not. She's a fearsome dragon, but yes.
Interesting word choice of, like, I have no more control over my abilities than a spider does. I feel like spiders have pretty good control over their abilities.
Yeah.
Like,
it does, for me, that almost introduces an aspect of, like, wild magic.
Yes.
And, like D&D, where I just think, I'm like, are all dragons just wild magic sorcerers?
No, because it's like, if it's my spider thing, it's like, no, but if a spider is like, time to make a web, a spider's gonna make a web. A spider's like, time to wrap this up, time to do my threading, I feel like spiders have, like, total control over the things that spiders do.
Yeah.
Like, for them, it's like a dragon, like, Saphira can fly whenever she wants. She doesn't currently breathe fire, but she theoretically, like, could breathe. Like, that's not the same thing as the sandstone tomb, right? The diamonds. So it was an interesting word choice that I'm like, there's just a word choice that I'm like, I feel like I have no more control over it than the wind or than fire does.
Yeah.
Where it just is going to do it, but a fire is not going to direct where it moves or what it burns or whether it goes out.
Yeah.
So, but I like your, like, wild magic where it's like, and that helps a lot with, like, potential plot problems of, like, well, why didn't they just have Saphira do some crazy magic thing to get them out of the situation? It's like, well, because they can't.
Yeah.
Because Saphira just kind of, it's just like, if the DM says, yeah, that sounds real cool, I'll let you do it, roll for it, but other than that, she doesn't have that ability.
It's very just like, magic just happens.
Just gotta roll the wild magic table.
Yep, exactly.
Yep. So I like that Eragon, he's still, like, again, we've praised Eragon for being very intelligent and thinking about how to solve things from different angles, and he does so here when he realizes, wait, like, the earth is damp, though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And realizes that he can, instead of turning something into something else, which took a lot of energy, he can just pull the moisture out of the earth.
Yeah.
And then create water that way.
Mm-hmm.
Or not create water. He's not creating water.
He's just drawing accessing water.
There you go, yep.
And it doesn't take as much energy. Because it is essentially the same amount of energy as physically, like, lifting water from one place to another.
Yeah.
You're just lifting it from lower up, but it's not even the energy of having to dig for it. It's just, like, carrying it.
Yep.
And so it's much less energy than transforming.
Yep. And it depends on how much water, too, because, I mean, if it's just a trickle, like, you can move a handful of water around.
Yeah.
Like, that's nothing kind of thing.
And Eragon's been training so long, he's very strong that even if, like, hauling pails and buckets full of water up a well, that's not gonna be like
No.
a crazy. So
yeah, because we've Eragon has been described where he's got muscle now because of all the sword fighting and all the things. Absolutely.
But he's pretty confident. He's like, even if I have to draw water from 50 paces down, it won't be a problem, especially if you help me.
Yep.
Saphira looked at him dubiously. Are you sure? Think carefully upon your answer, for it will mean our lives if you are wrong. And I appreciate that Eragon hesitates, and then I'm sure.
Yep. He thinks about it before answering because he knows.
Yeah, and I think, like, I again, I can't remember anything that happens next, but I'm also like, I feel like I know more about a desert than Eragon does. And I'm like, even though I don't know how far 50 paces is really, but I don't know where water is in a desert.
Like, way
is it going to be
down.
lower? There's water, but it's going to be deeper. But also, like, plants grow in the desert, so the water can't be, like...
And it's also, like, I feel like deserts
any
do
kind
go
of
through,
moisture.
Yeah, I feel like maybe I'm thinking of something else, but I feel like they do get, like, water spouts.
They get rainy seasons,
raining seasons,
Yeah,
exactly.
The plants don't need a lot of moisture, but they still need moisture, so... Yep. So he returns to Murtagh, who asked, well, is the desert open to us? It is, acknowledged Eragon. He flopped onto his blankets and explained what he had learned. When he finished, he turned over to the elf. Her face was the last thing he saw before falling asleep.
Aww.
Sure, man. It's like, yes, here's what I explained. And I find it, like, Murtagh doesn't have any questions about that. There's no more conversations. As soon as you're done, and then what?
And then he just falls asleep.
Roll over, watch the elf, like, okay.
Just like, Murtagh's like, all right, bro, whatever.
I'm just over here, I guess. Just stuck in this situation of my own design.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that's the 2 chapters.
Those are the chapters.
And I'm excited for the desert travel. I do remember the desert travel. So, and I don't remember much else after that.
But yeah, we are hitting the point where even if the plot has felt like it lulled a little bit, we physically can look at how long we have left in the book, and we're like, okay, things are going to pop off.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
We're at the point where characters are going to have to start making some choices about what's going to happen and where things are going to be.
Yeah, because that also brings a thing, like, if they're headed towards the Varden, which is they discuss that the Varden are on the opposite side of the desert.
Yeah.
Murtagh doesn't want to go there.
Yeah.
So it's like, where is Murtagh going to go
try to, like,
after they cross the desert?
Across
like,
and around and maybe try to get to Serta.
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
And
really.
and I like that it doesn't matter what their plans are. Like, ever since the plan to try to, like, jump the Razak on their mountain went wrong, there are no, like, or the plan they were supposed to meet the point of contact, right?
The dude,
the one guy, and so, like, we reached the point where you can't be like, okay, now we're gonna do this, because it's like we don't know anymore, because so far, like, the last several plans that our characters have, like, come up with have not worked out. So there's really no certainty into what's coming next.
Agreed.
So what is the writing takeaway?
I'm trying to think about everything we talked about.
I have one off the top of my head.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think it is the intentionality of word choice.
Okay.
Like how we're talking about how, she's an elf, and so she cannot be allowed to die.
Yeah.
And she's so beautiful. Like, as writers, as storytellers, acknowledging that everything we put into our work is a choice, and thus has implication. There is nothing that, especially because once it is out there, once you have released it into the world, other people are going to engage with it. So everything you've made, even if it meant nothing when you put it down, could mean something to other people.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, you need, like, that because I feel like some folks can have choice paralysis of, like, I don't want someone to misinterpret what I mean, or, like, get upset because they, like, and that's something that's just going to be completely out of the control.
Yeah.
So just the coming at things with the understanding that even if Paolini didn't mean to elevate elves over other life forms, even if we didn't mean for this beauty to be the most important trait about this character we don't even know yet, those are still things that are there in the text, that are elements of this world now because of the choices they made. So I think just being conscientious of the choices made as a creator when creating a piece of work. Yep.
I'll stick with that. I like that. I think that's a good one.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, Luce, what do we want our listeners to do then?
I think anybody can think of something where a person, if, like, dependent on the book and the rules of magic, did they overdo themselves? And how did they overdo themselves?
Yeah. What are magic systems that cost energy? Do you like that or not?
Yeah.
And what are examples of stories where that is that physical, tangible cost of magic, and what is that like?
Yep.
I dig it. Hell
Yep.
yeah. Before we head out, let's shout out some of our listeners who have responded to what's your favorite, like one of your favorite big damn hero moments.
Yeah.
We've got Kelsey said Sir Pinchus.
Yes! Sir Pen!
Yeah,
I fucking
very,
love Sir
very
Pen.
good from Hazbin Hotel. And then on that note as well, spoilers for Hazbin Hotel on the question of like what, like some deaths that really get to you. Sir Pinchus, also from Kelsey.
Yeah.
And weirdly enough, Izzy Hands from Our Flag Means Death comes to mind. Anytime I start to care about a character I previously disliked, that character's death hits extra hard. Yo, but for real, the masterful work of it, the end of season 1, I would have been delighted to see this character kick the bucket.
Yeah.
I was so over them. I was so over their bullshit. I was just like, you are actively making things worse because you are a toxic person. Like, I cannot care about you. I want you off my ship.
Yeah.
And then at the end of season 2, I'm crying. I'm devastated by the loss. Like, and it's just an incredible skill to write a character in an arc that felt so like, to see this character's arc and where they've come from and get us, the audience, to actually like this character so much that losing him went from being like something we were like, I can't wait to see you die, to like so somber.
Heartbroken.
So, very good. Yeah. On that same one, Owen says Stoic from obviously How to Train Your Dragon. And I know. And Jason are the only coming to mind because there's so much main characters, I couldn't believe it. Writing before listening to the end again.
Yeah.
I really think Owen just sees the prompt on the episodes on Spotify and is like, and I appreciate that. It's like, I have thought. I'm like, I love that. No, not influenced by it. Just the first thing that comes to your gut instinct. Here's what is truly, I love it.
Yep.
But yeah, Stoic and Jason, they just, when it's a main character, you just feel like that's can't be allowed. You have plot armor, and it happens anyway, but in a way that felt like, yes, obviously that's why it happened.
Yeah, that's why it had to happen. Yep. I actually thought of one just really fast. One that like knocked my like breath out was, it's not a book, but it like story wise is from the video game Bioshock, the second one, where in the first one so spoilers for Bioshock if anyone wants to play. In the first one you're betrayed by the person that was helping you throughout the entire throughout the entire game. And then in the second one, the person who is helping you, I spent the whole game going, fuck you. I'm not believing a word you say. You're going to turn on me. I'm not going to be betrayed like I was in the first game. And then it turns out, no, he was actually helping you without any ulterior motive. Damn. But then the main villain in the second one takes him, turns him into a big daddy, and you have to fight and kill him. And I was so devastated. I was like, I'm so sorry. I didn't believe in you, Sinclair. Like, like I was so upset. I was so upset.
Another one we've got from Priscilla said, Batman and Joker. I always thought Batman never had the upper hand in that scene. And then we got an email, actually, Lucy.
That was so exciting.
Really, really great email. Yeah. From Allison, who sent just a wonderful email, just with a lot of thoughts about various episodes they've been listening to, talking about their experience with the books. Something they wanted to ask is, are there any moments inspired by Diamond Tomb? Are there any moments from the books that you're excited to see in the TV series? I know we're not supposed to talk about the movie, but the Diamond Tomb seems is one of the ones that I actually liked and thought they did justice, even if the wrong characters were present. I hope they get it right in the TV series as well. So
I think that one, yeah.
I haven't watched it in so long I don't remember.
I know, I don't remember either.
I'll trust Allison.
I feel like I do remember seeing that and being like, yes, like I did like that scene. I think my biggest thing is maybe seeing the Razak portrayed correctly, and seeing how that pans out. Like, I'm very excited for that, and like literally everything else is the entire book. Like, I'm very excited to see their interpretation of the book and the characters and of Carvajal and the world. I'm just very excited to see all that. I am expecting him and Brom traveling, lots of Lord of the Ring panoramic shots of the two of them walking, and just like the plane being out there. Like, I am expecting a lot of that
big wide curving set that you use in The Mandalorian and the Percy Jackson show. Let's go. For me, I'm very excited to see Saphira's design.
Yes.
Because I think her design in the movie was specific, and then the feathered wings was a choice. She's described in the book, but the way she's described in the books is just a blue dragon.
Yeah.
And that can mean a lot of things. And like the covers we've gotten, she often looks very vastly different.
Yeah.
And so I think that's just a space where there is a lot of, she can look however.
Yeah.
And so as long as she looks like cool and beautiful, like a dragon.
Yeah.
I'm very, that's the thing is like, because I imagine they will want a design that is starkly different
from the movie. That's what I'm assuming too.
So,
yes.
and I actually, let's say for the feathered wings element, I do like Saphira from the movie's design.
I do like her design too. I honestly was like, even though like the book nerd in me was like, that's not right. It's very clearly membrane. It's very clearly bat wings. I do like the feather aspect.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I think it like looks cool, but like I am excited to see. I think you're right. I think they are going to go a different route than the movie, so I'm excited to see. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of interjected.
No, please. And then I also like Saphira's not the only dragon.
Yeah.
And so I will be interested to see if the dragons all look very similar say for color scheme or slightly different features, or if they're going to look vastly different from one another.
Yeah.
And so that excites me for the potential for that.
Absolutely.
And then before we head out, I want to shout out friend of Dragons Curtis Moore.
Yes.
Who let us know when we asked about favorite unique magic. They said the paper wings from the Aberson series. You fly them by whistling at different pitches, and I think they're super cool. That sounds super cool.
That sounds really
Whistling
cool.
at different pitches, that's super fun.
Yep, I like that.
Mm-hmm. And then, because listen, the thing about I love hearing from anybody.
Yeah,
what I love hearing from Curtis is that I never know what we're gonna get from Curtis.
Yeah.
Sometimes we could be the Belgarath series, the Bulgarian series, and then here's Hank the cow dog, and today Curtis brings us Lonesome Dove as his favorite rescue scene.
Yeah,
where Gus is trying to rescue Lori from the bandits and runs into a southern sheriff who insists on helping him despite being super bad at it. I like it because the dynamic between Gus not wanting their help and then wanting them near him to keep them from dying.
Oh my gosh.
I love the dynamic of the not useful but very enthusiastic
I do love
person
that.
You have to rescue during the rescue.
Yep, I agree. Yep. Mm-hmm. Very good.
And I think with that brings us to the end. Dear listeners, whenever you're listening, anytime if you want to send us an email, like Allison, if you have a lot of thoughts, like please do so. We're always like, don't worry, like, oh, this was too long. Nah, man. Like,
send us paragraphs.
No thing. If you have lots of thoughts and you just want to share and articulate, please. We will never be like, wow, why'd you? I mean, if you're gonna be like a jerk, don't email us.
Yeah.
Then we are gonna be like, why did you waste so much of your time? And then we're not gonna read your email, and we're gonna make fun of you, and then I'm gonna take a screenshot of what you sent me, and I'm gonna send it to the Percy Jackson Podcaster Discord, and then we're all gonna make fun of you. So, like, if you want to send us a long email to be mean, I guess you can.
Yeah.
But that's when we're gonna judge you for sending a long email. But if you just want to send a long email because you have a lot of thoughts, no, that's what we want.
Yeah.
Also, if you're listening to this episode and it's like, 2 years since this episode came out, I bet they don't want to hear about what my favorite kind of magic that uses energy system is. Like, no, I do. No, feel free to still shoot us that. Feel free to hit us up on Instagram, Eragon Pod. If you listen on Spotify, that question's going to be evergreen. Unless, we always want to hear about it because we always want to share it. Unless there's a point of time where literally we're getting hundreds of responses every episode and we simply cannot share every one anymore, I will always aim to share every one.
Yeah.
Even if it means maybe it was a month or so later because we recorded 3 episodes back to back and I shared a little bit here, a little bit here, and a little bit here. Yeah. Sometimes that happens. I don't know what to tell you, dear listeners, but thank you to everyone who does engage. Thank you for listening. Thank you for interacting with us and letting us know your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Thank you for telling other people about the podcast.
Yeah,
that
it's super cool and heartwarming too. I was gonna add too, like, if somebody if y'all someone gets new into the podcast and like I said, we have a prompt from way earlier and you're like, oh, they wouldn't want to hear it. No, yes, please do. I would just only recommend maybe putting in the episode and the prompt so it helps us.
Yes, if you're not responding just on Spotify, because if Spotify will every episode it'll show me where you have under. But if you're gonna send us an email, like, I appreciate, thank you for Allison mentioning episode 31, Diamond Tomb, and I'm like, that was episode 31. Thank you.
Yeah, it helps us because it has been a while, and Yes.
Yes.
It helps us remember, like, oh yeah, we did talk about that
right.
back in that episode.
That was right. So, yeah. And it just helps us engage with the conversation. So appreciate, and then you just taking the time to just like, just the listening is a thing you do on your own. Letting us into your life, into your world is a really thing you don't have to do. So thank you so much for letting us into your house and hang out with you and coming to hang out with us and wanting to spend more time with us by taking the time to like put your energy into just responding to something.
It's very cool.
Yeah, and even if you're listening and you're like, oh, I don't have a thought on the, like, if you're on Spotify and that's the most convenient way to respond and you're like, well, I don't really have a response to the prompt, but I have another thought, that's okay. You could always say, like, not about this, but here's XYZ thoughts. Like,
here's my thoughts on the chapter. That'd be cool.
Because it's like, don't feel like you have to move to another, like, send us an email or move to another platform just because it's not the prompt question. Like, I like having the prompt question rather than like, what did you think of this episode?
Yeah.
Because we're going to have that anyway. So, as someone who sometimes feels self-conscious about wanting to engage, we'll never be like, that was so embarrassing and cringe of you to share your thoughts on how dragons work in a piece of meat. We did ask because we opened this podcast and we want to talk about dragons.
Yes, we want to talk about dragons.
And again, coming in wanting to engage with the media, we will never be annoyed. But circling back, this does not include people who just want to be rude.
Yeah.
And you know the difference. Someone wants to be rude, then we're going to be like, wow, how cringe. There's people who want to be like, I want to join the conversation.
And like, just like, I love dragons too. Here's all this. And be like, yes,
dragons
are awesome.
I don't know. I just wanted to remind people who are listening that maybe have wanted to, but haven't been like, no, I don't want to be weird. No, we're asking you to hang out with us. And thank you for hanging out with us.
Absolutely.
That's going to do it. We're gonna stop talking now.
We're gonna stop talking now.
Thank you again, and until next time, she's Lucy Hart.
And she's Darien Smart.
And this is Eragon.
And back again.